I said, send it to the printer, ran Dale down with that, all it wants is for shipping. I do have a resume, that's me, actually, I just have to take it out.
What?
You got there, I said, we had sent you that whole book, I hate that. He came in close.
She's whining about me again, isn't she?
Whining
When he
again.
walks in the door,
Roger, Roger.
I wouldn't be cared.
Hi, I'm Wanda Carpenter.
Hi, how are you?
You are?
I'm Bob.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so.
Bob Orange.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you for coming over, appreciate it.
Wow.
Okay.
Adam is here. Can you hear me, Adam? Or-
I can, thank you.
As far as getting the short-term, mid-term, long-term forecasts. And Susan is exhausted. And you're a little bit cranky.
A little bit cranky. Oh dear, she's tattling on her now. A little bit cranky.
So soon. We're learning it, you know.
Wow.
We're gonna have to hire a housekeeper. There's a lot that's been updated.
Okay, I found the other one.
That's really good stuff.
Great, awesome. I have I do have the same one. I made a mention of, I'm using my computer, I have a desktop computer, and I can't get my emails at all, but on the Frontier now.
Well, that's been the Frontier outage, because everybody's kind of experienced that.
Really?
Yeah.
The Frontier?
Good.
We haven't had to. We have a hot spot.
Oh dear.
The kids.
Yeah, we have both Frontier at the office and a hotspot, so.
Your Frontier working at the office?
Yeah, it's been kind of spotty today.
What I have to do is, also, if I can hook up to the Wi-Fi.
We have a hotspot here if you.
Oh, that's okay. This, I thought it.
Oh, okay. That's okay, Bob. You've been on that show for a long time, so.
I got on my house real quick and I had a message to let him lose it. I saw where the Marsh tried calling me, the one with Jared Pugh and what else, but I haven't been able to.
Talked to me this morning, so did Kevin. Dr. Kevin and Scott from Callaway yesterday. Met with Mandy, what else did we do? His what,
Okay.
Hey, Bob. We're gonna. Mandy is here, and we'll probably move her up in the agenda. Just so.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. I don't want to hear it all. You got the agendas out there? You don't see the agendas?
There, I didn't print very many. They're kind of a thick packet today, so.
I've got to fix the one.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:29.
6:30.
6:30.
We gotta say 6:30 or you'll get in trouble.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on just a second. Let me get this. All right, we've started that recording. We are live on YouTube tonight, so just to let you know, there is that 3-second delay, but we are live streaming.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, now I have 6:30 according to my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So you calling Indian Valley Community Services District regular meeting of the board Wednesday, February 23rd. Call the order, roll call. Jeff, can you call the roll call, please?
Sure. Director Gorbett?
Here.
Director Orange?
Here.
Director Doran?
Here.
Director Cherry?
Here.
Thank you.
We're good. We have a quorum. We'll do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the agenda for tonight. For tonight, any changes, discussions?
Move Randy up, who is the finance number 8, move her up after public comment.
See, so Mandy is item number 8. Okay, so we'll move item number 8.
To
To
number 3.5 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.5. 3 after public comment. First item on there. Any other changes to the agenda? Additions to the agenda? Have a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Motion to approve the agenda. I second.
Any all in favor? Aye. Public comment. The portion of the agenda may be utilized by any member of the public to address and voice concerns or issues to the board of the directors on any matter that is not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the Ivcsd. Depending on the subject matter, the board of directors may be unable to respond at this time or until the specific item is placed on the agenda at a future Ivcsd board meeting in accordance with the Roth and Brown Act, which is decided upon by the board chair. Any public comment? Have we received anything, Jeff?
No, we have not.
Okay. Okay, the 3. So, Mandy, we moved you up then. So we'll, for discussion on, if you look at number 8, we can go over the way on here, but so it's a financial report, a budget document. And document report questions. You have a list of check balances, line balance, profit and loss statement information, the other packet for review. And not possible for reading.
So hers starts on page 45 of the packet.
Okay.
And goes on through the whole budget document. Yeah, through to 76.
Okay, the budget document 45 to 76.
Mm-hmm. Those are pertaining to your financials. Mandy has come over to meet with the finance committee and go over some possible mid-year budget changes. And the committee has discussed those things, and we'll have some recommendations for you for your next meeting as far as adopting those changes and putting them into print. We'll go ahead and give you a summary sheet of those at the next meeting. But you have these financials in front of you today, so if you have questions on any of these financials, cash allocations, profit and loss, she's broken those out by way of enterprise funds and different categories. There's a balance sheet, obviously, all those budget versus actual. So any questions from the board or from the public? You're welcome to go through those things now and discuss.
Yeah, yeah, work, because
Okay,
that's what I was out of town yesterday and today, and like I said, I wasn't able to get this.
so what we got from Mandy, if you don't mind, I'll just, of course, kind of insert. So what we got from Mandy is we got the budget versus actuals for each section. And Susan, we always like to keep Susan happy. And so we learned about the revenues, and each section in the documents that we reviewed today is like the park budget, the admin budget, the water budget, the fire budget, the wastewater budget. I think the thing that was interesting to me, and Susan, feel free to jump in there, is that our revenues were down 68%.
Yeah.
And that was based off of December bill.
Yeah, using December as a estimated new normal billing month for you guys to project out for the remaining 6 months of your fiscal year, to look at remaining customers and usage and what we should expect for revenue so that we can consider expenses accordingly.
So what we have in mind in strategic planning is short-term, mid-term, long-term plans. And this is the first start. This is the fiscal year to June. And we have that in our hand. What we don't have is we don't have the midterm and long-term planning. And we'll, start projecting on that. But I've asked Mandy to keep us aware of that down 68%, whether it's down maybe 65%, maybe down 60%. We've got more months coming in the billing. We've recognized that there's probably an issue with mailing, access to mail. We're not charging late fees. Who hasn't paid, who has paid, we're just gonna keep our eye on that figure, because when we start projecting operating costs versus income, we're gonna have to, put those two together. And then, of course, there's always the opportunities for additional funding to, grants and, state and federal opportunities. We, got the FEMA, we got the insurance, whatever. But those monies, until they're in hand, are not here.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna look at it strategically that way, short term, mid-term, long term. And so we'll start putting that together
Be cautious with it.
and being cautious. Yeah, and that suits Susan and my style as well, and Mandy's, she's cracking what she did. I'm impressed. There was very few questions. There was a few things that we went around. Jeff said it on that meeting, and of course, he's a wealth of information for the historical piece of it. He was very clear on, familiar with a lot of this. Couple things that we moved around. but not a
Some
lot.
modifications, suggestions I have brought to the meeting today, but those can be typed up and emailed to the four of you shortly for review, and then you can approve them for the next meeting, or if you have other questions or modifications.
So we learned how to do the budget based on the departments, and then we went over the packet that we always get. We kind of looked at that. Susan, of course, looked at it and fine tooth comb. I learned a lot about how to read it, and you got anything to add later?
No, you've got it covered.
There will be. The process is you're going to do a mid-year review at your next meeting and adopt those changes to your budget. And then come June, you'll be required, or July, you'll do a final budget, and you'll have to adopt that final budget and pass the next year's budget
Yeah.
to operate off of. So
We want that really clear, so that we can go and talk to, the state officials and they look at, how Give us some help. Here's what we got, so we'll want to keep those financial documents real tight. To,
I would suggest we do it on a weekly basis. That we review those. Because some of those budget line items are pretty tight.
I propose doing that with operations and the admin or just as a board.
As a board at this time.
So now is the time to decide. The committee has kind of decided that they prefer one method of reporting to the board over another. And so this is the time to make those changes. If you want to see something reported in a different way, using a different kind of form, they tend to not prefer, the committee was not liking the overall big summary
Yeah, so
sheet of the budget, but they wanted to stay with basically the one that breaks it out under admin and parks and fire and lighting. Those enterprise funds that exist as well. So that was kind of the preference of the committee.
And it's your report, you tell me how you would like to.
Yeah.
So we keep the decisions off of it.
I don't see that 5-column document in the board packet.
Yeah, I probably did not include, was in the previous one, so
Okay, I have a,
your summary sheet was,
yeah, it's a summary sheet, and basically what Mandy did for us, she gave us a separate sheet for each department. So in other words, here's one for water, here's one for wastewater. And we kept them separate. There is a summary sheet that the previous manager, I think, had put together. Susan goes, nope, I want to keep them so I can go department by department by department. And then they'll more or less of the overall budget, but she wanted to finish.
Yeah, it comes out and shows more on the line item by department rather than a conglomerate or whatever together. And it's easier to understand anyway. You can see, where salaries are going, how much is going out on workers' comp, rent use and so forth in each department. I think it's fine-tuning of the report.
And literally these, budget or actual reports are on and spit out from the books.
Yeah.
The other was a manual Excel spreadsheet that was put together.
Yeah, I can filter and title.
Yeah.
To make it easier for you guys to tell what you put.
And we felt that this was fine. We were comfortable with what the way you explained it, when you explained it. Yeah, I think we'll get a little more creative when we start doing that long-term forecasting, because that's gonna have to go to people who got from like Brian Dolly or Joe or whoever. I was trying to follow Susan, but I'm not sure.
And each grant application, they have its own preferred financial format, so. We can modify the date in whatever the grant application needs to see format wise, but for your purposes, yeah, we can do it this way.
Oh, this is that example of admin departments. And we just felt we did.
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's in your budget document.
Yeah. Roger, you want to see it?
It is on page 70, 69 and 70 of your budget document, your packet.
Okay.
Um,
And so our next meeting will be our mid-year budget review then.
It'll be your mid-year budget adjustments.
Okay.
To adopt the changes we discussed today, and I will email to all of you, including the modifications.
And those who know earlier, Mandy came over earlier and Sue and Chrissy met. And
In depth.
our budget, in the budget this afternoon today. I need to get caught up where we're at, what we're doing right now. Okay, move on from,
Did you want to, so is that all the questions, any questions from the board for Mandy?
Questions? No, he's not gonna be there.
I don't right now, right later on.
Okay. And you can open it up to the public if they have any questions at all.
Okay, any questions from Andy? Okay, next, Jeff is engagement letter for Singing Mohammed, that's our audit for 2021-22. They finished the audit in the office, what, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, we're not quite done with them, but we, they are done, other than the few things I need to provide more for them. But we came to discover that we had multiple years. We had last year, this year, and then for the following year, we don't have signed engagement letters. So they did send across the one that we just finished. And so I just need you to go ahead and make a motion if you would like to adopt that and sign that letter of engagement with the
Is
auditor.
that letter in the packet or is it?
It's not in the packet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I have a motion for that with engagement letter for Singing Mohammed.
Using
Yeah, what is
the same schedules and as the audit company, I'll make a motion that we use them since I signed it already.
Okay, so you made the motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Roger seconded. Any comments from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, from there, we will go back and raise again. Back to number 4. No, I don't, I'm thinking for the people here, before we go on, maybe a little bit more, I think maybe it might be worthwhile to make a comment about the committees that we have here.
Sure.
That might straighten things up.
Mhm.
Since we do not have a general manager right now, and until we get another general manager with firm, the board has been established a list of priorities, and actually Chrissy has put this together. So, you know what? I'll let you. Yeah.
So, on the agenda for items.
You can go
4 and
ahead,
5,
Mandy, if you.
These are our Cal OES partners, and they are a liaison between us and FEMA. And the way they put it, that they're the primary applicant and we're the co-applicant.
Thank you.
with them. So the money from FEMA, you know, if we are awarded any, goes to them and then they award it to us. So they're really our advocates. What they've done is they've named 11 projects. And in those 11 projects, there's numerous documents, inspections, you know, data requests that are coming out. What the board has done, since we don't have a general manager, is we've put together an action plan for each one of those projects. For example, the sewer lift stations, the damaged meters, the water treatment plant, the fire station, those are all considered FEMA projects. There's 11 of them. Some of them are listed in the agenda, but what we did was we met in a special session last week and we assigned 2 board members to each one. And then we're gonna decide tonight how often we need to go over the action plan, because, for example, for each project, there's gonna be steps that need to be taken, and we'll track this in an action planner. And we all have it, and we all talk to it. So if you ever had a question on a project, you could call any of the board members, and they'd be able to speak to any of the projects. But for example, Bob and I are on the sewer lift station, Roger and Susan are on the water treatment plant. And Rob, the pipeline from the reservoir and all that they're the ones that will be getting the detailed information. But then we're briefing each other using this action plan to keep, so that all 4 of the board members are kept, maybe 5, are kept apprised of all the actions that are taking place within the district. We're acting general managers. So what we've asked the staff to do is, is use the directors as the supervisors of each project. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Any questions on that?
Well, I assume you guys are gonna speak to the details of those projects at some point, or I'm curious, I'm a local contractor and would like to be involved in a few of these projects, or one, however many makes sense. Now, is there like a pre-qualification process to vote to bid on it, or is it an open bid? I know you guys put out that FEMA paperwork, but I'm kind of unclear if that.
So let me give you a little background on this. This board is brand new.
I understand all that, yeah.
And we are just, the background is like, I've got 37 years worth of PG&E experience, right? Susan's got a career, we're both retired, she's got a career with, as an engineer, she's a civil engineer for water and sewer. So we've got some utility expertise, water construction, fire department and construction. So this is a really good board. I mean, we get along, we are, our meetings are amazing, and we're pretty good. Do we have the level of detail that you're asking yet? I don't think so.
Okay, I just saw it was on the agenda and I was, wanted to.
So the bid projects come up, then we have to abide by the law, so make sure we don't have to do it. We have a project manager, like, we'll get into it when it comes up regarding the fire station. But, we're moving along pretty quickly on the fire station and cooperating with the county and with PDH on that, so we'll talk about that more, but that's kind of an example of what we're doing.
For example, like the first project that we're talking about is the lift stations, right? This tomorrow morning, Don's going to be meeting with the engineer. I can speak to that because I'm on that project. Don's going to be meeting with the engineer to determine which part of that's going to go out to a contractor and which part's going to be built in house. Once that gets done, the engineer is going to draw it up based on their conversation tomorrow. And then when it's sent out to bid, how do we post that?
So, and what interested Ed why he's here is probably because I did send paperwork to some of the contractors that had responded to the RFQ that was put out. And so there's certain paperwork that we would require that they return. And then that allows them to continue to, so in other words, their request for qualifications gets returned to us. And then as we go forward and we put projects out for bid, then that enables them to, they've already been qualified for their qualifications. And now they will bid on those particular projects as they go along.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, Jeff, I do have to respond to that RFQ. Qualify.
Sure.
Okay.
Best way to do it is to fill out that paperwork, return it. That is the request from the district for qualifications. And then once that's in and certified, then everything is ready. You'll go ahead and bid on jobs as they come up.
And there's FEMA and non-FEMA.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of trying to figure out, want to make sure.
Are you pre-qualified with this already? I know you've
Well,
done
I
it,
did a bunch of the emergency work,
Uh-huh.
but I never did.
Because those didn't need any kind of quote or any kind of procurement process. Those were emergent and they needed to happen right away. So those emergent things happened right away without question. But now that we've spent the time and the effort we put out for proper procurement for the future, they will have to fill out and respond to the RFQ, turn in their paperwork. We've had several companies that have done that already. For instance, your engineer and some of your materials suppliers. There's another engineering firm for the fire house structure, I believe, has responded as well. So yeah, those sent them in.
Yeah, it looked like the wording on that document was based more toward professional services, like engineers. Stuff like that, so that's just.
It's forever. Yeah, even the gravel company
That's basically.
turns them in. Mhm.
Yeah, there's work and, there's work, and again, in our action plan, this is the work plan for the district. Like this is, if we get a grant to fix the distribution system,
Yeah,
it's gonna be in this plan and, we're gonna be updated weekly.
and that's great, not just for me, but I'd love to see as much of this money stay in Plumas County as possible, all these out of town, big companies just driving out of the county like this.
Maybe we do that as much as we possibly can.
Sure.
We push it to the limit on trying to use the local contractor.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
You so fun.
yeah.
You're my favorite.
Oh.
You can't say that out loud.
I like you here. Probably should. Sorry, Jeff. He tries to keep us from breaking the law.
Strike that.
So, but that's what we do with the action plans. We develop an action plan for the board members. That's what we do in the meantime. Thank you for putting that all together. There's a lot of work to be done. Thank you. So, so Kevin is not here, nor Scott, but I know we had the conference call yesterday.
Today, too. Yeah, we met with them for quite, actually a couple times today. We met with them, and they want to come to our action plan meetings. So we're gonna have special meetings where we go over each project. And we'll be looking at it, identifying action items, assigning action items, and completing action items, on each project. And they're gonna participate in that, which is good. I think that they prioritize, so if you look at the action plan, they prioritize it for us. The number one priority is the lift station repairs. And then the second one was this was something that Susan and I spent a bunch of time working on today, is the emergency protection measures. Basically, we found a big binder that had 600 invoices of all the monies that were spent during the fire. Kevin and Scott have done a bunch of work where they scanned all those, made them all PDFs, got them ready to upload them in the FEMA portal. Do all that legwork for FEMA. FEMA's actually said that they would actually do some, couple of dozen hours of administrative work on that too. We got 3 action items to do with that number 2 priority, which is emergency protection measures. Provide proof of payment for each one of those invoices. That's nice. Invoices. That's going to be some work. We'll let Jeff do that. We need to identify the equipment used in the emergency, and that's something that we'll have to put our heads together on. Finish the EEIs, which we're going to get some training on the FEMA portal. Our access was modified today. Gosh, took all this today, and we're going to probably utilize her technology expertise to do some of that. But the EEIs are important, and FEMA's breathing down our necks, saying, I did this, and we're just saying, yeah, I don't know, we'll get it. So that was number 2. Number 3 is the fire station equipment and prioritization. And they didn't really talk much about that. You've actually had more, you and Susan have had more action on that with your meeting on Saturday and whatnot. You can report on that. Then number 4 was the gazebo, and Susan and I both can't understand why that was up there in the priority. I guess maybe we should get it off. The thing on the gazebo is it's got to be $3,500 worth of repairs. Susan and I went up there and actually assessed it, took some pictures, and we'll put in for it, but I don't know, there's not a lot of damage yet.
I can touch on that too,
Okay.
if you're ready.
Sure.
So, with Streetscape hat on, the Triangle Park was a project of ours that is now on, as you guys know, your property. And the funding through FEMA that you guys have requested, to do the repairs there, which is great. We've talked with, I mean, I don't know if anybody needs any history of how it became yours, or not. The Triangle Park was something that, had first come to Streetscape, from Jean Johns. And, she was wanting to donate the land, for a park. And then the services district would be the owner of that, so it stays as owned by the town in a sense, you know. And so anyway, it was something that was not a part of the Highway 89 project. It happened before that. So anyway, it got finished with different local contractors and stuff volunteering to build it. And with a lot of help from Don Silva putting in, you know, railroad ties and doing different things. So the it's something at this point that yeah, the damage to it is like the, you know, where the bench actually sat underneath it and burned.
Where is the bench burn?
So isn't that interesting? Yeah, the bench burned.
Yeah, and the
And-
railing,
Yeah,
And it would really,
yeah.
and then
So
damage to the electrical,
to the.
The water
box. For the
Right,
for the
and-
water.
Sprinkling system.
right, so a lot of the irrigation is gone.
Yeah.
Some of it was damaged actually when the hydrant was put in, and hadn't been fixed since then. But so we have the spindles in the railing. We actually have extras of those already. We also have I think we have the stain and the sealer that's actually on the structure itself. And so have talked with Brad Smith, and he's willing to, you know, do the work since he and Denny Taylor built it in the beginning. And so they would, you know, help in that. Hoping to help, you know, have Don help again to replace the ties that are there. And those are only actually put there as a temporary curb. They're not intended to be there long-term. One of the things with the repairs that Caltrans will be doing to the project this summer and then moving forward is we're hoping to get them to curb and gutter around the entire thing. So the ties will be removed permanently.
And that's
And
Caltrans.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So the $3,500, you know, would go to paying for, you know, somebody to replace those guardrails, to buy the new piece at the bottom, whatever is needed there. It would be for the irrigation lines, it would be for the new water box, or whatever controls are needed. There has to be a riser valve for that. Let's see. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, it's way at the bottom of your expenditures, you know, in things.
So the way that works is, you know, we exhaust our insurance and anything that our insurance does cover, FEMA covers. To get it listed as a project, it has to be $3,500 more to even become a project.
Right.
This one made it as a project because we said, okay, there's $3,500 in damage. Susan and I weren't sure there was $3,500 in the damage, and we've already been paid for the real property of our insurance. So, you know, I think that there may be more legwork, and then I don't know whether we can have Brad Smith. I don't know if we could pay Brad Smith or whether we have to put it out and be fair.
Right.
You know, on that, right? We'd have to say, give us your quotes on the fixes.
Mhm.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should set it out there and let some of the local boys say.
Well, you guys-
I can do that.
Probably no. But I know that there's a public bidding threshold, like for instance, with the school district, anything under $12,000, they were not required to put out the bid.
Oh, yeah?
That's how school districts operates. I don't know if that relates to all.
FEMA, you're probably required to follow their procurement rules.
Okay. We'll check this back.
And if you look too on their, part of the packet is that flame off. So that's a fire preventative on page 27 and 28. It kind of tells you a little bit about this, the barrier paint, fire barrier paint. So in the future, you may want to consider having it coated with that flame off retardant just to protect it. And that might put you to a little bit higher in cost, so you qualify for their threshold as well.
I don't have that, detailed insurance adjusters document. I did use it.
Remember that what we originally sealed it with for like a 5-gallon thing was something like $400 or $500.
Oh, that's
So it was ridiculous, but whatever.
But maybe it had
Fire
a,
bench burned. And
it may have had a barrier, yeah, it built into it. You never know.
Yeah,
It's in pretty good shape.
yeah. So anyway, just, I guess, you know, to kind of catch you guys up to speed on this piece of property as to, you know, how it became and who we talked to and what we're, you know, willing to help with. So
You spoke with Caltrans about it then.
we have, yeah,
Okay, did they give any indication when they would be doing that work?
it's still very early for them, so they will be doing their work kind of in 2 phases. They will be, by the end of this summer, they will have gone through everything that was done in the Highway 89 project will be, you know, repaired or replaced.
Mhm.
So the broken lamp post, yeah, that's their goal. And then from there, you know, new things will happen. So whether,
I don't know, if this probably won't be very high priority for them then at this point, because I think they've got a lot of pavement repair to do as well.
yeah, and which all partially depends on, you know, they have to work in conjunction with, most of the pavement damage is right around the Main Street intersection. They will have to work around the cleanup of the hotel site. That's kind of a whole
It's still
thing.
in the right of way.
That's also a site that is something possibly to be preserved in a way or something. Anyway, who knows? But so that might slow them down. We wondered, how is that going to happen so quickly, you know, through there? So we'll see. But it's something that we're adding to the list. you know,
Yeah.
That we would like to have done.
Damaged concrete as well.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of
Yeah.
concrete.
so hopefully that.
So do we want to move forward with, you know, requesting bids on repairs or?
Oh, well, I'd really like to know what Caltrans, their, you know, get with them, find out what their plans are, because we don't want to be in there at the same time.
No, and all the Caltrans would be doing is replacing if that even happens, all they would do is put in the concrete curb in place of the railroad ties that are there now. They would not do anything else.
No, they're not going to do
Yeah.
anything else.
So if they do that, you know, everything else, like the irrigation, and replacement of the railing would not interfere with anything they
Well, I
intend.
was looking at where the irrigation box is placed, and that'll be right, just about in line with the concrete curb coming through there and there's on that backside.
It is close.
Yeah, so we may want to wait off on that till they do the concrete work. However, we could do the structure repair,
Right.
get that going, and if there's already existing railing, poles.
There used to be a railing on the front, on the highway side, and that's why we had these. Before that sidewalk was there was a drop off, and so there had to be a railing put up originally.
Mhm.
So when the railing was taken out, Lance LeBaron had kept it, and so that's why we have that chunk to then use. So I think it would be good to know if FEMA, you know, has a threshold of what has to be out to bid or not. This is so small.
It really.
So I think we've got 2 action items. One is kind of, there's a threshold for put it out there, other bid, and then number two, put it out there.
Well, I think anything you turn into them has to go through their procurement process.
So even if it comes in under $3,500,
If it's under 35, it won't qualify
it
for them.
won't qualify and will be removed as.
Mhm.
So it's there.
That's why I'm saying, let's let a couple of contractors go look at it and find out if it's gonna be that $3,500.
That'd be better, again, like, nobody knows what they're doing.
It's going to be, it's multiple things. You have the irrigation and you have the repair to the structure itself.
Yeah.
The landscaping.
Who? It was it was our group, it was the streetscape group. The irrigation was originally, installed by volunteers in our group. Don Silva, partially did some.
Do we need a motion on that?
You want to go ahead and move through those, Mr. Chair, one by one, or do you want to take the gazebo first?
On each of these, the utility items we have on here supply.
Yes.
None of the other ones are ready for
Yeah.
motion.
So,
Except
okay.
Firehouse, everything sounds like it is the carnival. Okay,
In my opinion,
yeah, yeah. I think so, that's the only one, so, entertain a motion and state it for the purpose then.
I'll make a motion that we find out the public bidding threshold and get some repair estimates to see if this is a FEMA project or if it's not, which is going to change our actions going forward.
I'll second it. Okay. Any discussion? Any comments?
How are we gonna we're gonna pay somebody to come out and give us a quote for it? How are we gonna do this?
We'll look into that.
We just advertise the job, ask for quotes. People will turn them into the office by a certain deadline and you'll take whichever quotes you can get.
Where do we advertise?
We put it on the online paper. So we would advertise it in the district window. We would put it out to Plymouth News. And then if we have a list of contractors that we think are interested, we would send them. Mhm.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Moving forward.
Okay. So the only other item on the list for discussion, actually, I think right now is fire department.
No, there's no director's reports, meetings and comments.
So before you leave 5, you just want to make sure that, okay, board, does anybody want to discuss any of those projects that are up, that are listed for you? You can go through what's there in the packet. And then if any of that you have questions or want to discuss or take action on, now's your chance to do that. Basically, Kevin and Scott had sent these to us for you to either accept or modify. According to the information they've given you.
And each one of these projects is on our action.
Right, we're still working.
Yeah, and my mistake, when I talked about firehouse, it was referred back on.
Right.
So, Mr. Chair, you want to have some discussion on the 547, 549 firehouse structure?
No, the only, one thing I came up with, when Kevin talked about, he said that the old fire station is 2,100 square feet. I said, hold it, and that's what it was, that's what they had. So I went over the tape measure and started measuring the thing, started looking at, they were off by 800 square feet. And it was 5 feet deeper than what we thought. It's also wider than what they had quoted. So I gave the information to Tosh, and we got to that conversation yesterday. So I guess it said that I've got to go over there and take photographs. I think there's like tape measure.
So we discussed it in our meeting, and as long as they had agreed that you had measured it off, according to the foundation or the footprint that's there on the ground now. And that they were willing to accept that as long as you are to put that in writing, how you determined your square footage, because obviously it differs from the architectural plans that we had. So we discussed it in the meeting, and they would like you to document that and testify to that and sign off on that. And then they will accept the changes according to the fact that you measured the footprint that was there. We're going to do the obvious second floor reduction by the way of, we know the slope of the roof. So we can bring that into that 7-foot threshold level as far as where you're going to make that cutoff, and they will accept your increase in size. They just require that document from you.
Okay, thank you. I was present at that meeting on phone call, so. Give you up to date on that. Okay, anything else under items under 5?
So I will be contacting Cemetery Road tomorrow and asking them the transmissions. And see how they affect what we're doing on this well water line.
Okay. Okay,
And for the lift stations, 1 and 2, that was a meeting this morning with Dawn and the engineer. They're gonna meet tomorrow and determine what part that's gonna be contracted out, which part will be built in-house, and start a design so that we can get that to FEMA, because we're probably not gonna go back like for like, that's gonna be a little bit of a change. And we wanna make sure that we get that started early, so that we, if we have to bring in any or whatever in that, that we can, because that's kind of, that's our goal now. That's emotion. And we already voted on that last, the last meeting, so then, the hydrants and the meter boxes, there's discussion on that today, following us. And FEMA, and we feel like those documents, the FEMA documents be done by the 7th, and that we'll have,
Mitigation.
that they're gonna be happy with, what's been drafted already. Tosh has done a real good job of collecting that, putting it together. And that's.
So the difference there is, what do we call that? They have it listed as a hazard mitigation
Which one?
project, the lift stations 1 and 2,
Oh,
but you are wanting to. We're gonna change, you're gonna have to make that modification, I think, for them. If you want to continue forward and notify them that you are not doing it as a,
right, they're aware that we are getting the, design to make that change.
because they're calling it a hazard mitigation, but mitigation does not describe the change in their project that they want you. For instance, the fire station has a different declaration to the name because it's being an altered project.
The fire station is an project,
Yeah,
but the new station is a different configuration, and that's why we have to have it designed.
yeah. So not putting it back the same way, you're gonna have an altered project there because everything has changed as far as the way that you're going away from number 1, true?
Yeah, the way that is, there's 3 lift stations down there. We're next lift station number 1 was destroyed in the fire. Lift station number 2 has, so that it's being run on a generator right now. Lift station number 2 has bad controls. Lift station number 3 has old pumps. So we're talking about purchasing 2 new pumps, 2 new controls, 2 new pumps that control for lift station 3, 2 new controls for lift station 2, modifying the connection, a connection between them, which could could slow the project down just because we have to do some fighting. But and using that as what we call a short-term repair. It's the least expensive option to get the sewer collection plant in good working order. The long-term solution, our expert on the board is Susan for that, and Roger, they're working on that, to maybe a grant to abandon all 3 lift stations and do it right, build one and look to the future. We don't, that's a $1 million project that we can fund, outside funding. And so we're gonna move forward and try to get that funding, but in the meantime, we gotta fix the sewer plant. It's our #1 priority.
Altered project. So there's one other thing you may want to discuss. You had brought it up that you have a rental generator and pump down there now. Do you want quotes to purchase that equipment, or do you want to just continue to rent it?
In the,
Do you want to see what the comparison is?
in the design that Dawn and Dean are working on, they're gonna include a generator because whatever we go back with, it's gonna have that.
A mobile generator that will be owned by the district for future use.
Yeah, and when they spec it out, they're gonna spec it out with design, material costs.
I see.
Start with-
Okay, so there won't be any direction tonight. You'll just go with whatever they're working on now. Okay.
The supply line to the cemetery, that water line that feeds the cemetery, is that their responsibility? That line?
5 200 feet of it,
So
and the rest belongs to the cemetery.
267 feet of it, and the pipe replacement of the indicator box is needed to tie into that. The line of the sewer is theirs, and there's several thousand feet to the cemetery.
Was that something that they had insured then, or?
We don't know yet, that's why I'll be meeting the cemetery to see what's going on, what their plans are there alternate things that can be done? I understand there's 4 or 6 inch water main coming down through the highway road in front of the cemetery. Now, we need to find out what they want to do and help them out as best we can as well.
Yeah, so want to collaborate, the district and the cemetery want to collaborate, we want to collaborate.
If they decide to maybe come off with that main that's on the highway road, well, then that means abandoning that 267 feet, that line there.
And that is a FEMA project, the 267 is a FEMA project.
Yeah, it is. But, if they decide to do something different, then that will, of course, change our plans on that. I understand they had a meeting 15th of February. I've not heard any feedback from them. So I will be calling them tomorrow.
Something agenda I'll give you. Something agenda.
Yes.
Oh, let's see, before we go away from. Before you move on, Mr. Chair, hold on, there was one more item here for the lift stations number 1 and 2. If you go through your sheet on, it looks like page 26 of the packet, you have a 53-foot long storage trailer. I think there was a proposal to put a Connex trailer on the 5-acre parcel to replace that storage trailer. And I'm not sure whether they wanted you to make that decision or consider that decision.
No.
Was something that was proposed from Kevin Rainville to put that Connex trailer on the 5-acre parcel for now to replace the 53-foot long storage trailer that was lost in the fire at the lift stations.
Guys, keep up the good work.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
I'll add that as an action item.
Okay.
replace the one that was down at the lift stations.
Yes.
I figured to replace the one that where the damage up there and put that over on the Platte River Park.
That's just
Any other items there, Jeff, on the five?
No, I guess it, yeah, if you don't, yep, that's it. If you don't have any other discussion on those, or the public doesn't have any comment or discussion on those.
Any comments? The director's reports, meetings, and conferences attended, it seemed like every day somebody's going to a meeting, a couple people, a lot more than the meeting, that's for sure. So, I don't have anything to bring regarding number 6, direct reports, meetings, conferences, that will be covered later on.
Just to give the public, there's a weekly FEMA meeting. And that's them measuring us for documents.
That's a Tuesday, typically at 10, but she has moved to 2 o'clock. Yeah. So that's sorry, I got to stand up. I've been sitting all day, and my back's just kind of biting the curve, so I got to stand up. We'll do that. Fine. Susan, anything to add? Roger?
Nope.
Okay, number 6.
I've got Don's report, built that today, so I'll give it. FEMA project 553117, the raw water line connection has a correction to the damage inventory document from 500 feet to 5,000 feet. That was reported to FEMA today, so that's been corrected. That was a typo. FEMA project 54, which was kind of a big deal, 500 to 5,000, yeah, which is a little different. FEMA project 548429, emergency protection invoice binder will be summarized by Kevin and reported to FEMA. And we did that today. We're working with Ivcsd today, and we have those 3 new action items, proof of payment and things like that we have to do that. FEMA project 552392, damage to hydrants and meters, proposed change to include the district distribution damages. That's what Dawn wants to propose as a change to that project. And that's going to take some more discussion with Kevin and Scott, so that we don't slow things down. FEMA documents by 3.7, the water plant contents, the sewer plant contents, and the sewer plant panel inspection. And we will have those documents by the 7th. And then an assessment of the distribution system collection may include smoke testing. This came out from Don's discussion with Dean Marsh this morning. The contractors are supposed to be plugging off the sewer lines. It's one of those trust but verify things, right? Are they doing that? We don't know. And we won't know until we do the smoke testing. So Don was going, do we really need to do that? Because if we do that, we're going to find a bunch of stuff. And Dean's going, you do it now or you do it later. I mean, if it rains and it wrecks stuff, like put that in as part of the work. So,
yeah, it's a really important one.
It is.
If you have mud and rock going into your sewer lines.
Yeah, I was in agreement with Dean on that.
I mean,
And so.
I've been pushing for that anyhow.
yeah, I live out in the flats, and honestly, I've never seen them dig up and locate a single sewer line. Now, I could be wrong, I'm not on the job, but seeing all of the parcels around, me cleaned up, I've really never seen one. And I know at the store, it's not been done.
One of the things we need to remember, sorry, Christian, is that district responsibility stops at the right of way line.
Mhm.
Okay, and what is beyond it is private ownership.
Mhm.
So, and we're hoping that people are capping those off.
And hope they makes me.
The way they have said that they would.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if they're
they're
on
being
private
required to.
property, within the right of way, but maybe that's something we need to get out to the
It's something
public
we're
and
gonna work
say,
with the state
please,
on.
make sure it's capped.
Yeah, it's something we're gonna work with the state on, because if it's not, if we do find damage and that they haven't capped it, they will go back and cap it, and we will be billing them. And it's something I've been kind of interested in, because they keep saying, hey, they're damaging this, they're damaging this. And who's gonna pay for it? We can't afford to pay for it. So we're gonna go out.
It could be its own project in itself.
If we do this at the same time, and this was something that I requested from the engineer this morning, and it was something that CalOS was requesting at the same time, we were asking for the same thing. Kevin was asking, and then I turned it around and asked the same thing. And that we want to mark and map everything. The meter locations are all mapped, the sewer locations are not. And this is a good opportunity to map them at the same time. So we're getting maps from Dean for this, and that'll provide FEMA documentation, they're both projects, right? And district documentation. So we'll know what we have and be able to prioritize it.
So on the smoke testing,
Mhm.
when will we do this after it's all cleaned up? Or right now, or because if we do it right now, then it's clean up some more projects and then we're gonna have the same problem again.
Well,
We need to do it, I agree, and
Right.
find leaks, but when do we do it?
Dean recommended doing it now.
Now?
He said because if we get a bunch of rains, we're gonna have.
I agree,
more
but the
damage.
problem's gonna be there.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is if we get a marker map, then if we do end up having something, we'll have
We'll know
a
where to go.
master plan, we'll have it, it'll be, here's location 1, here's location 2, here's location 3, now we're up to location 12, location 15, location 20, we'll find this stuff. Will we have to smoke test it later, maybe, I don't know, but that was Dean, Dean made a lot of sense to me, I'm not a sewer expert, like Susan, she wasn't on that call today. I was there for sure visit.
I agree, it's a good, we need to do it, and find out if we have problems.
Yeah, and it's
It's
essential.
gonna be
It's
on, it's
something
gonna be
that-
an ongoing thing, bro.
Yeah.
And I think that California Rural Water has a program where I think you should contact them and find out about the smoke testing. I think they will come and do that.
Well,
I think it's a contracted price, but I think it's a pretty reasonable price probably through California, our membership in California Rural Water. So
Dawn, I think you've done that before with Dawn, though.
they have with staff, but I think they also have a program where if our staff is busy and can't, I think they have an entire plan, contract plan where they come and do that for you. So anyway, I'm not sure of the details. I would
He
find
was
out.
on board after the conversation with me. So I don't know that we're ready to, this is his report, right? I'm just giving you what his report was.
Okay.
So I'm not sure we're ready to move to the board for board action, but Don bought into what Dean was recommending, and I was agreeing. Sounds like everybody here is too. The last report that Don has is the Greenville Water Plant temporary building is complete. The CPO will be purchasing and storing tools and equipment in this building, so he was happy to report that.
Good. Any other questions, comments on number 7, water sewer systems updates, Dawn? We'll move on. Number 9, calendar meeting scheduled or 2 regular per month. Possible change to 1 regular meeting and 1 special meeting each month, second and fourth Wednesdays. The other special meetings as required discussion action on. Well, we just posted it's gonna be 2 regular meetings a month, so we're talking something different now. I noticed that the board back we have a calendar.
I was thinking that it might be good to go back to 1 regular board meeting a month, and then conduct a special board meeting, action item meeting, 1 hour meeting once a week.
This came up during your last special meeting on a Thursday where you have your plan of action meeting. And so we talked about scheduling the follow-up meeting. And it was unclear that the board had consensus of staying with 2 regulars a month and then adding 2 or 3, possibly 4 action meetings per month. And maybe that was a heavy load for everybody. So I think that's why it's come before you tonight, is the fact that maybe you would want to change the way you've adopted 2 regulars a month and go to 1 regular a month, and then discuss how many action plan meetings you want to have on your Thursdays.
Then make that question.
Action plan means special meeting.
I think that's my thing.
Okay.
This is the one regular meeting.
And then how many, do you want to set a certain amount of special at this point in time, or
Can we do it like half the meeting on
you can? Unless you just kind of want to make sure you have at least 2 a month, or, yes.
Okay. Well, that sounds like me. So look at this, like, let's go, so right now, so the next regular meeting would be, March 9th.
9th,
And then if we have to have a special meeting, it would be on the 23rd.
It's already been suggested that March 3rd be a plan of action meeting. Whether you want to set those Thursdays now.
So if that's the 5 o'clock. Thursday,
Okay.
every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Yeah, and that's a 1 hour meeting. And we get, and we'll do that.
Okay. Just like you do it.
Are we gonna have one tomorrow?
No, next week.
Okay. The 17th.
Okay, so I have a motion to cancel the second regular meeting.
You're up. That we have 1 regular board meeting a month, and our action plan is every Thursday at 5 o'clock. I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. That's a good idea, but, you know, that's what family does.
Yeah, and then we'll have non-book records, depending on what happens. going forward.
Yeah, that's sort of. I want to do that. I'm sure we will.
And 2 on the action plan meetings, like Susan won't be here next week, because we're keeping it as a Google Doc, it's open and it's available. You can get it electronically, it's updating and changing. The goal is to make sure that every board member can talk to every person.
I could bring up there, but I won't be here on Thursday either. I'll be down, I'll be bringing up a fire truck and down, you know, on Thursday. But I won't be here on Thursday. Okay, so number 9 is done. Fire department report. Purchase of radios or trucks. Update, the portable radios are still on back order. They've been on back order since last May. COVID and the supply chain issues and the lack of chips is still delaying most of these radios. We do have, I picked up the 2 radios that goes into the vehicles. I have them. We could put them in, and actually they're pretty complicated, and the cameras don't match up. Extra work that we probably would work, so I contacted Share Electronics, and they were gonna send a tech over, actually 2 techs over on March 10th. And they're gonna do 3 radio installs and 1 radio uninstall on the engines over here in Taylorsville. To put them in. Those radios are $3,300 each, and I got messing with that, and I didn't want to blow one up, and I would be.
Yeah.
It's better to have them. So, I'm glad they do it. They're gonna definitely make sure.
Where are they out of now?
Pardon?
Where's that company?
Reno,
Oh.
Share Electronics. Share Electronics, they do the radios for a lot of the other fire departments in the county and the sheriff's office.
Good.
So, they're pretty good. So I have 2 radios at home, and what they're gonna be pulling one out of one truck and put it in another one. So that's what's going on with the radio part on that. Things were good. I showed this to Susan the other day. We picked up the Calaveras County Central Calaveras County Fire. We picked up a 4-wheel drive engine, diesel, really nice truck, Cal Fire. Wildland rig, you will see it, it's parked over there at the 5-acre parcel in town right now. I was just gonna polish that out and clean it up really well, but got to look closer at it, and wherever it said Cal Fire on it, when they took it off, the paint came with it. And the details on the side, where those were out, the numbers were out, the paint came off with it too. And the paint is shot on it all the way around. So there's a firm in Orville that we've got 2 other regions painted. We have a Forest Service region we picked up for free, and they painted it for $6,000 in Orville. That's a North Arm. Did another truck. It was a Type 1 that's sitting in Greenville. We had the one that came from Texas. They repainted that one. That one cost $6,500. This truck here is a smaller one than that Type 1, but I'm assuming it will probably be the same cost.
Yeah.
And he's a commercial painter. Nobody, when I did the research before, trying to find a person to do paint, it's a really big day, and none of the local painters here have a big enough day to handle the commercial truck. So the person that did this down in Orville, that's what he does, is commercial rigs.
$6,500 pretty cheap.
Pardon that?
$6,500 sounds pretty cheap. for
It
me.
is.
Yeah.
And the fire engine red, nice guy, and last time he did it, did it on. So what I'd like to do is do the same thing as have a motion to approve. I don't have, well, I can come back with a bid. I'm pretty sure it's gonna come back with 6,500 talking with them. To have that truck painted, and then we can take it down there and get it painted, and as soon as we get it painted, we'll put the details on it and put it online.
You can set a limit if somebody wants to motion.
So
Um,
you want to look at the monies?
Okay. I can see it. So how are we doing on the money on that?
I know, this is always something. And we're very nervous and,
Okay.
you know, supposed to say.
We'll say, now that this week alone, well, whatever, Jeff, how much of donations have we received for the fire department?
40,000. Got donations there.
Yeah, there's several. I mean, so you,
About 40,000 donations. We went through that. So-
you have a cash allocation. We're gonna make an adjustment. It says 249. I think the fire department has total cash allocation of about $213,000.
So where did you see that? Because I'm looking at this document.
Go down to the bottom line on your cash allocation.
249,000.
Yes. But we're gonna make that adjustment that because of the prep for the fire down on the 5-acre parcel, and that had gotten charged to admin instead of to fire. So we're gonna make that adjustment in the budget. So it's gonna knock that down to about 213 or 214 on the fire department cash allocation.
So what he's talking about is a change that happened on the admin budget. 34,000 for repairs and maintenance, which were additional fire costs. We got charged against admin instead of
Fire.
So that's what.
Are we gonna recoup those costs at all?
They're just budget columns moving. I mean, we've got equal dollars. It's just.
You will see those adjustments and you will have a point to make those adjustmts and approve them.
Some of those, like I know part of the fire budget is the water tanks, compressor.
Yeah, and actually, I talked to FEMA and Callaway yesterday, and there's in the work plan, there's an added line item that we talked about last time about donated labor costs, and our consultant is saying, oh, that take forever to get that figured out. I put it in here that maybe that's a FEMA project fee at donated labor resources. FEMA said they think it's worth doing because FEMA's gonna pay 75% of anything over, LRS is gonna pay a percentage, so there's 6%, but we have to pay the donated labor costs, would bring that down.
Okay.
So it may be worth trying to do that. I wanted to talk to you about that. To do that, we're gonna need the names, what they worked on, where they worked, hours worked, equipment list, tool list, city rating.
I can do it, it's gonna take a lot of work, but I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm pulled off, it's a couple months worth of the fire and who was, what engines were out that day and, the equipment, but.
Yeah,
I have some records, we have a wish action plan every day,
okay,
we weren't in it, but we made notes and we received it, and I will. I can do something there.
Why
and
did
it's
they-
gonna have to be
why did-
submitted as a late project, and we're gonna have to start together, I can help about that letter.
And why didn't the fire pay?
We didn't have a contract.
Still, we supplied emergency service.
We went to,
You can.
I
build a
tried,
fire
yeah.
car.
I hooked up with the solar fire camp. And we put equipment in there, we didn't have a lot of items that were not in the contract. So I put our personnel on them, and I put our engines in there. And then, folks were great, and we approached it and went to the finance officer within fire camp, they go, nope, they're not listed in the incident action plan, they're not assigned to a certain specific division boss every day or this person every day, because we're in there. But we were helping everybody, we were helping a whole bunch of people, and following around behind them, throwing up the trucks and doing all that stuff that we weren't specifically in there, so she said, no, we can't do it. So, talking to the OES folks, she said, what's gonna have to do is, just like what we're talking about, put the grant thing together, and then hitting up the boss of OES, and basically the governor's office, and with a stroke of pen, we said, we okay, we will do that. And I talked to certain staff members back there in the fire about that a little bit, and I said, well, it's gonna have to work its way through the legislature, but if you put this together, turn it into the director of OES, come down and meet with us, we'll see what we can do to help you out. But it's gonna take a major stroke of the pen. But there's a lot of middle level people that are just doing their job. They said, nope, according to procedure and protocol, we can't do it. This is just a really special situation that was going on here.
Right.
And everybody, as long as we're helping everybody, and they know we're helping everybody. And the fire, the fire boss, the second commander called me up and talked to me and talked to me, hey, thanks for your help, or you guys did this and that and stuff, but we weren't getting paid, we weren't getting reimbursed. So it's a big job to put it all together and almost be like an appropriation bill in a way with this budget. It's something I need to do and I know what to do, but it's just haven't with that whole issue. It's gonna take some trip down capital.
Back to the budget, on the vehicle expenses for the fire budget. You're at 101% where the money is allocated, so we were gonna add $1,000 to that to get us in June. If we do paint this truck, we're gonna need to add 6,500 to that, and that since we can make a note and send that to Mandy.
Yeah, and your motion can be, if Bob doesn't think the 6,500, somebody can motion to allow him to spend $8,000 to have the truck painted. And then if it costs less, it's less. If it's not, he has 8,000.
There was over 4,000 in that vehicle repair, but.
In this vehicle, it's got a new engine in it, Down has put a new engine in it, the front end was put in by Caliber Ten Fire, they put all new Ritchie lighting on it. And a couple other things, but with new tires, mechanically it sounds, it doesn't look very good. Right.
This is the first time we're in this budget information.
Yeah, true, that's true.
I hate it. But it's-
Okay, well, hear that, do we have a motion to paint the truck in?
I'll make a motion that we add $8,000 to the vehicle repair budget while we're reallocating for the budget.
Okay.
And then do we need a second motion for the paint? Get Jeff?
No, you'll
And
just,
that we use that money to paint.
yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, we'll get that done, and that'll be a good rate for us now. While we're on that, just next Wednesday, I spoke with fire chief of Redlands, and they want that engine down there that they have just put $6,000 into themselves as they get to us. They said they'd like to have it picked up as soon as they could. And so probably what's going to happen is on Wednesday, I will fly down there. I talked with Lucas, BC, yesterday, and we'll fly down there and they'll pick us up. We'll stay overnight. They'll do this orientation on the truck. We'll bring it up. Now that truck, as far as I know, is in perfect condition. No issues with it whatsoever. The paint on it was good. And they've done a lot of work on it. And there's also my understanding they put the outfit it with a whole lot of stuff. Hoses, hydraulics, brass, fittings. Anything should be in the fire truck. It's pretty complete. They want to do a big PR thing for the newspaper down there too. So I'm going down there in uniform and Bruce will be down there in uniform too. So we'll go down there on Thursday and come back on Friday. So that's Redlands truck, and that is a factory engine. Okay, plans for the new fire hall location, size, inclusion of other agencies. Susan, how do you want to talk about it, or that you were both there, but we had a special meeting on Saturday.
It was pretty exciting actually to be there and be a part of it. Denny Wright and his wife toured the Janesville Fire Station. It's relatively new. It consists of 4 bays and they can actually get 8 vehicles in it, I believe. However, that's way beyond our needs, but we will also be housing the sheriff's office, substation, and the ambulance. So one of the bays would be dedicated to the ambulance. We went over plans. Chris Myers brought in plans of what that building is. And it was engineered by NST Engineering out of Susanville. And each element, the sheriff's office, the ambulance people, PDH, and Bob, we all sat there and looked at it and marked it up as to allocating space in it. The plans are being taken back to NST with the markups to give us an idea of how much so forth. There's been a change on the building, and what's the rest of it off the budgeting and
Yeah, well,
Give you an
Kevin
idea.
Ross was there too.
that's right, Kevin was there.
So it was, yeah, really exciting. So the sheriff was there, Todd Jones.
Yeah.
And then, the corporate made everybody be in the one facility, and so went over the plans, they have to draw the plans over there, the exact plans, they have them there.
Exactly.
And, modify things that Sam Dusty from PDH wanted to have, and, the sheriff's office, a couple little places, they need a place for evidence and different things, and
Right.
So lots of
Maybe a
rules.
secure area.
yeah, and it's actually, like I say, 8 days because it's a drive-through. But we're looking at 6 days. But what we have is our insurance. Jeff, did we receive our check? The 1.3?
Yeah, the FedEx comes tomorrow.
Okay,
So there'll be some smaller checks and then the 1.1.
okay. So basically, the insurance for our fire station is 1.3 million, that's some change. PDH, when they lost their building in the fire, they received insurance money. And they're talking anywhere contributing at least 300,000, but maybe even up to possibly 400,000, depending on what the final deal is. Sheriff's office lost their substation, so we're getting $100,000 coming from them. That's a generous. So when you put the 1.3 plus, let's say 3, the one, so we're looking at $1.7 million project right now with the insurance money we have coming in. And but the cost of construction has gone up significantly. Don't know what's going to be, so we're going to get the plans we're going to take back. We'll go over to NST. We have to start somewhere. And so what we need to do is get approval to pay for the plans, not the blueprints, but the plans. And then from that, we can put out bids or get ideas how much the whole station is going to cost us, and work from that. If we need to downsize, we get bigger, or have to get people involved on the other end. I don't know, but right now it's with the amount of insurance money we're I don't know if we're gonna end up having FEMA involved in that or not, it's gonna, I don't know. So, Chris has got the plan, but what we need to do is give an okay for AST just to draw the plans, not the blueprints. $1,000, and then from there we'll figure out what we can do. And in fact, Sam, Leslie gave me a call, not yesterday, the day before. He said it cost saving measures. He's worried it might keep on going up, but he said the PDH is fully committed to joining up and making this happen. He said, well, he gave a couple ideas, he even maybe reduce the cost a little bit more. So I'll do it. Yeah.
So if they pony up $70 to build the building, are they still gonna pay rent? So you have
That's what's
$70
gonna
rent?
happen. Who's gonna own everything? And are they gonna rent from us? And have we got something in writing by our lawyers?
We'll
Verify the 3 different entities.
Yes, those are all things that we're gonna have to figure out, and those are things they're concerned about, like PDH is concerned. Yeah, we have those concerns, but they're also concerned, are we gonna go bankrupt?
Right,
Exactly. And they want to protect their money also, but, will this, if we build this, will ever go down? I don't think so, I don't see how we can ever let it go, you know, we have a contract and the state comes in and we're gonna have to honor that contract to follow through. And law enforcement, fire and medical is critical to the community to move forward. So they have concerns, we'll have to figure it out, and I don't know, you know, there's utilities, obviously the ambulance crew would use more on utilities, anybody else would be in their least amount. But on the same token, their security, they'll be watching everything, I don't think we're gonna have anything stolen yet or broken yet, we'll have people going in and out, we looking good. Those things we're gonna have to look out, fortunately, their attorneys are looking at it and trying to figure things out, and everybody wants to make it happen, and no one is trying to undermine anybody else. I think we're all in it for the benefit of the community, and we'll all do right by it. So I don't think there's, I don't think they're trying to mess us.
No, I don't think so either, but you know, when you get the attorney.
Well, you'll do your lease agreements for sure. And the lease agreements, actually, if they're in on those donations, I think your lease agreements could be drawn up very soon.
And Todd Johns, the sheriff, is working with the county council. The county council will be able to go ahead and go with it. And so county council is also working on it also. So the councils for the other 2 entities are okay with it. I haven't approached our council about it yet, and I'm sure people on it, but the other councils should come together that we're okay with it. Okay. But we got to start somewhere. This is the place to start. So what we need to do, and I don't know how much it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be that much for just the plans, because we already had a plan, but we're gonna be modifying it. Susan, do you have an idea?
Oh, if they're all on AutoCAD, they'll probably be less than 10,000. Now, then we'll need to go out to engineering services to take that site plan and build it, or take the building and hire an engineering firm to do a site plan, which will come in, do surveys, see how much grading and utility work needs to be done, that kind of stuff. And from there, we'll have a better idea of where it's going to fit in the budget and if we have to make any cuts. And of course, then we can take it further once we get that, Jill, to putting it out for construction. And we'll probably want an engineering company that will provide full engineering services and oversee the actual construction, the design, construction of the building, the site work, just to complete the end of the whole project, to sign it off. Project management, running change orders, everything that might need to be done. So we'll be looking for complete engineering services.
Like I say, so we have, it's gonna be 1.7 to 1.8 million, and we have PDH wants to move as fast as they can. Is there ambulance crews or living trailers out there? You know, they're in, they want to get all those trailers started in someplace decent. So they're pushing it probably as much as anybody else. So
So I have a question.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a Jeff question. If we're gonna put the insurance check in, do we modify the budget? Because professional services for the firehouse already spent like 100% in the budget. And we've added more, so like, I don't know why that's so high. Additional costs are in professional services.
Yes.
So we normally don't spend, on fire department, we spend $25,000, we're adding 25,000 additional. So that budget line.
Yeah, that's what I understand about one point, some of that was the water tenders or stuff, fire and fire, that we put that in.
Professional services.
Yeah, other stuff that was.
Yes, and we saw that in all of the, departments. They're putting out that temporary fire stuff, and I asked her, I said, don't you have a line item for emergency management, or emergency services or whatever, because if you'll probably.
Would make it a lot easier.
I know.
Well, she is coding them as FEMA related, because when I pay the invoice, it does get marked that way. It might be professional services, but I always code it out on the side that says FEMA or FEMA related, so that she knows to break it into a different bucket, because it's disaster related. So on your income level, when it comes in and the check and you allocate the funds for your budget, it's going to go in the 50506 category, because that is your major projects that give you something substantial that can be depreciated over time. So it goes into your depreciation part of your budget.
But these costs that we're talking about, like plans and $1,000 to get the first, and then $10,000 for the next one, those really are professional services.
They are professional services, but they're still going to fall in because they're part of the cost of that building. So those things are going to go under your 50506 category.
Put the engineering bill going to the 50506.
Because it's part of the building cost. So I think where you're going to end up putting it is under that, where the depreciation schedule.
Okay.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to you?
It does, I was just thinking something else on the line of,
Part of the cost of it.
Yeah.
Part of the cost of the building.
Not-
Yeah.
yeah,
So
not
we
your
get other
budget,
insurance.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, even for the triangle part, I mean, it's going to take time to write up whatever and send it out and have, bids come back. That takes professional time right there.
So
What
that
we're
bucket is
talking
for,
about is
yeah.
The, how to categorize this, right?
Oh.
And I was just learning about the budget today. We're not getting,
Right.
but these fees that we're talking about for the new fire department project, which is a FEMA project, are not going to be considered professional projects. They're going to be considered the costs of the bill.
Mhm.
It was just a budget clarification for me. I knew that.
Okay, well, do I have a motion to approve moving forward with the plans to NSP Engineering to do the plans?
I make a motion that we continue forward with NST revising the plans to our specifications.
Okay, have a second?
Revised plans. Okay, you want to go ahead and open it up to public comment?
From the public? Folks? Okay, all in favor?
Okay, funding wise, did you want to move forward no matter what that costs? You want to set a limit? What do you want to do?
Wasn't that
You don't know.
Raise part of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their modifications to those plans could cost $3,000. You include. I mean, they could give you engineering costs of $25,000.
These are our best plan to work with, Tom.
No, I know.
But when we go into actual plans, to go out to somebody and say, here, this is what we want to build it, and get their estimate. Yeah, you're right, that would be additional above what NST is doing.
I would suspect even the modification to anything they have right now would cost you.
Yeah,
Why would they do it for free?
No, they're not. This building has already been built. They already have all the stuff on AutoCAD. So it would be minimal work on AutoCAD, so I don't foresee it being 25,000 in engineering.
Right.
Over plans again.
Yeah.
So,
See, we were changing the days, the other stuff,
So,
just move things around a little bit. Rather than, they want to have medicine, pharmaceuticals that need to be kept at a certain temperature, so a certain storage area for that.
Oh, sure, no, I
Yeah.
understand. You
Uh,
just don't wanna get a bill.
No, but we can start, we can start.
so before you get too far, who was the motion?
Susan made a motion. I
Susan.
seconded it.
So Doran, your motion was to move forward with NST
To revise. plans.
to revise.
You want to request it as the cost?
Yeah, I think we could add that to the estimation to your motion so that then you know it's gonna come back with a cost.
We're just- Well, I mean, we'll have to say, if we request this, how much is it cost, if it's outrageous, won't really,
Sure.
right? I mean, you want to put that going up?
Yeah, in fact, the other issue in front of us in Quincy across from, subway that built Mill Valley Station, so they're not doing it anymore. So this for Manistee, engineering also designed, Quincy Power Line, for the ladder truck. And, I'm trying to think of that station over there. I can't think of it. I think they already run this too.
So we have a second by Director Corbett, and then you did take your vote with, everybody still for yes, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, no, FYI was, I think we were looking at 8,700 square feet. Not quite 9,000. Okay, number 11, we're getting there. General manager, board of directors, report of actions. Board is temporary general manager and action taken. Well, you know, we did that already. The action plan assignments.
So there's something I'm going to put before you under that discussion action there is going to be your Cal OES Form 130. Okay? And on that Cal OES 130 form, instead of listing names and having to remove them and take them, modify them later on, we're going to list your Cal OES 130 form with, these are your people that are point of contact for FEMA, and we're going to start with general manager on the top line. And we're going to go office manager on line number 2. And this is recommended by Kevin and Scott so that we don't have to keep going back and changing things. And then for line number 3, we're going to put as the alternate being the board clerk or backup board clerk, which would constitute Tashiana Towers at this point in time. So your Cal OES form, if you approve, will be general manager, office manager, and board clerk. And we will have Bob sign that form and turn it into FEMA if that's the way you want to move forward.
There was a little background on this. There was a request from Kevin that we put the Cal OES Form 130 on the agenda. And so that's what Jeff is doing. In looking at the Cal OES form, Kevin, who is our consultant, advised us that it would be better to use the office positions rather than people on that form. And so that's why we're recommending that we use the general manager, the office manager as an alternate, and the office clerk as third, and admin as the second alternate. So now we've got, they would be the, basically, I believe this is, I looked at this form really quickly. It's an action item of mine, but it's, I looked at it really quickly, and it's literally the hierarchy of point of contact for calendars. I'm pretty sure.
That way, by putting, manager on there, the managers contact us.
Right.
Yeah.
Successors. It's the same way that we do with our LAIF signatures on our local agency investment funds, so that our funds Instead of keep rotating board members, it just says and successors, so that any of the successors can take over and sign.
Yeah, so if you sign that, if we fill it out, you sign it, then we're good.
Okay, I'll sign one.
So we're looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we fill out Callaway's form based on the office positions. General manager, office manager, front counter.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. You go. Okay. Yeah, so that is over. Okay, so now we have board member outreach. So outreach and board packet for review and advertisement, receive letters of interest for consideration of the board packet. So first of all, there's one Carpenter is here, so thank you, and you submitted a letter of interest, writing expression of interest to become a member of the CSD board. You see how long these meetings is tonight. Hopefully they don't go quite this long. This is kind of really a special long thing on there. So I really appreciate your consideration for wanting to be on the board. We did receive a email from Jason Powers on February 18th, wanting to be considered to be a board member also. So we just have one position, but two applicants. So I'm thinking, does this have to be through the staff ad hoc committee, or do we do an interview, or what? How do we move forward on this?
This is your choice. You can, Wanda obviously showed up for the meeting, so you're free to ask her questions and her background and get her experience. And Mr. Powers has obviously given you an email to consider. We can't actually choose a board member tonight because I did not list it that way. When we do a regular meeting to actually choose the board member and read the oath of office, I will have to notice that in the paper at a regular meeting so that we're going to follow protocol, be legal and follow that statute as far as we understand it. So, so tonight you're welcome.
The last time we did this, we had 2 openings. We sent off the questionnaire,
Yes.
and I kind of think maybe we should solve that.
Yeah, 'cause we did it once
We
already.
did it once, so it
We
should
might as
be
well stay in the
consistent.
same suit.
Mhm. And we'll send the questionnaire both on to Wanda and Jason, and then we'll review the questionnaires in
You can, at your next plan of action meeting, you could actually go over those if you want to. We can't choose a director at a special meeting. We have to choose a director at a regular meeting. That is noticed in the paper. So,
so what we would do is usually have a discussion plan of action, and then make a motion at the regular board meeting.
you would choose your director at the next regular board meeting. And at that point in time, once you make the choice, you've properly advertised that meeting, then I can go ahead and read the oath of office to whomever you choose.
All right. That way you don't have to sit and
But she's here tonight. If you would like to ask her qualifications or questions, you're welcome to do that for sure.
Would you like to give some background with it?
We moved here in 2012. The old fundraising place at the very end of Kinder. And it was by chance, my daughter was looking for a house and I went with her and it was a mess. And she single and couldn't deal with it, so I told my husband and he said, yeah, and then the real estate agent emailed and said, oh, the price was down. And every week we got that. So we went back with him and looked at it and he made a ridiculous offer. And we took it. So he retired from PG&E and I had just retired from the school district in Mendocino County. We moved over and did a ton of work on the property and still working on the property. And moved. And we have 5 biological kids and 5 adopted kids. 2 are still at home, 16 and 14. And we're both retired. What else about me? My work history is from way back when I first started was Taco Bell. And I've worked for EVD. I've done HR work. I've done EVD, school district mainly. I retired from the school district. Started in special ed and went to regular classroom and then went to the office and then went to the district office and then went to the county office doing state reports for ADA and then retired.
You said your daughter worked for the Forest Service?
Yeah, Catherine Carpenter, she's a knee up the
Mhm.
She's been here for 20 years. Started at Mountain Health, the supervisor's office. Yeah.
So what are you planning on, what's your plan? So what do you think you can help us out with?
I pretty much anything. I can do data entry and, all kinds of stuff. A little bit of budget. When I did accounting, it was accounting for the school district, and I basically got reports from all the schools in the school district, their ADA attendance reports, entered it all into a spreadsheet and figured out how many kids were set in the
So,
hot seat for the day and how much money we were going to be able
so why do you want to be on the board?
to. I think it'd be interesting, and I'd like to get in on helping. I see so much that needs to be done, and there's not many people around to
Pick a
do
project.
it. I just think the same. Yeah, from, just those silly wildflowers, to 4-H, so a ton of those, and I'm trying to figure out where to find them.
Do you have any questions for us?
You told me there's only 1 meeting a month, unless I get on a committee. Then it sounds like it could be
Oh.
anytime,
There's a lot to do.
anywhere.
What we have is, what we're doing right now is, and we don't have a general manager. And so what we have, like, is important, it's gonna be the next subject we're gonna bring up is a general manager and or a firm taking over. So a lot of the stuff that you see that we're doing right now, this was kind of an emergency. We had to step in and do this in order to keep rocking and
It's
rolling.
only 1 meeting a month.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. But when this happens, we have a decent person, next person comes in with a firm, it really be a big assistance and help to us.
The only boards I've ever sat on was Little League and youth football, way back in the day.
Well, that was the question I was gonna ask is, have you ever sat on a board? Because I've never sat on a public board.
Me neither.
I didn't know what the rules were. We can't, more than 2 of us can't meet at a time. That's why we're kind of budgeting up on these projects is we can't have 3 of us meet without being in formal session.
Yeah.
I follow the Brown Act, so there's some of that stuff, which is why we look to him all the
The
time.
Brown Act.
He's, yeah, he is the board secretary and he keeps us.
You can be there, you just can't participate. So if you were a board man, so board members can get all together to go to conference or training or education, certain things like that. It's just when they start talking about business of the district, it can be no more than 2 in the discussion of district business.
Jeff has that.
Well, Tashiana and I have been trained for certified board clerks for the state of California.
And the opening that you're coming for, actually, he can tell you this, Michelle. Stated that he's got Riley's jersey, and a week ago, 2 weeks ago, he started building, and he's out there every day working on this, trying to build, he's got to work on the building going in. This was taking some time, a lot of effort. He can step off and go back to his business for his family and keep going. He stayed longer than he told me he would initially to help out, so I could help out for a while. But I got to do my business very well. So he stepped down and resigned. That's why That's fine. Well, thank you. And so we'll give you a questionnaire, we'll mail a questionnaire to you, and also to, basically, then we'll make our decision at the next board meeting.
My email should be on
Thank you. You still interested after all this, right?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll give me something to do.
That says a lot. That says a lot. Jeff, I will give this letter to you.
I have it, yes. Mhm.
Okay, so. Gentlemen are outreach, so here we go. We're not signing. Says 7 minutes. Outreach information is in the board packet for review.
Actually, did you put the proposal for services in the board packet?
No,
We didn't get that.
we didn't get that in time.
Okay.
I left it there so that in case we had something, we could put it in. I was supposed to have the modified one that Director Doran was doing, and we did get that. But it didn't get in time for the board packet, but we have that, and we have this other avenue as well. So you're welcome to,
I will bring this up, I think it's relevant to bring up that I was contacted by Chester. They're not the CSD, public utilities.
no, they're a public utilities district.
Anyway, they're hiring, they just hired a new law firm, but they're also hiring a general manager to process the general manager. And I don't know if they hired them yesterday or not.
They did.
They did.
Yes, they
Okay, they did.
We followed up.
Okay, so thank you. So, they reached out to me and they knew that we were in that business of trying to find a general manager or firm delivery. So, I talked to this fellow, he came by yesterday and I was out of town. And they brought brochure, so he met with Susan and Chrissy yesterday just to introduce himself. So I'll let you, I wasn't there, you want to say something, how that went with them or?
Yeah, so
Thoughts?
his name's Adam Cox. He Harris Partners, Strategic Planning Development Project Management. As you can see, this is his.
He's here with us tonight on the Zoom meeting.
Oh, hey, Adam.
So let's see if Adam will unmute, and then I think his picture will come forward. If he talks.
All right. Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, so here he is on the, let's see if my volume, sorry, Adam, I was, let's see if they get the volume turned up here so
Yeah.
that they can hear you.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Now, is your video on, or did you want to?
You know, I will turn it on. Yeah. Let me.
Oh, there he is.
Forgive me. I'm in a dark room. My apologies.
So his
Hello.
video is on. He is, he's here with us in Zoom, and you can talk away to him.
So Adam, this is Chrissy. You want to give us a little introduction?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
gave that to Susan and I, but we've got the rest of the board here.
Yeah. So, yeah, my name is Adam Cox, and our firm is Sectaris Partners, and we basically focus on providing services to small local public agencies. It's definitely my passion. Agencies that need assistance anywhere, anything from temporary project management to long-term, contract administration of the district, general manager services. We also do some other things. For instance, we help school districts search for superintendents and just some different things. But yes, I'm very, very interested in what's going on in Greenville. I am going to begin working for Chester as their part-time contract general manager for the time being. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you. So in your proposal, you have 23 years of service on boards, local public agencies, use experience in organizational governance, budgeting, strategic planning, human resource management, big fan of accountability, especially within public agencies. The benefit of hiring Sectaris Partners is the access it brings clients to additional highly experienced public service professionals. while engaged with us as for GM services. The Secretary's team for Ivcsd would include several additional partners described below who will assist with the targeted projects as needed. I'm sorry, let's sleep here. Lieutenant Matthew Balzerini has 20 years in emergency response and disaster preparedness. He's the fire service guy, right?
Yes, correct.
And then he can provide disaster planning services for several Super Bowl organizing committees around the country. He's got a big resume. What else was in here? And is currently serves as lieutenant with the San Francisco Fire Department. He previously spent 12 years as a police officer. And basically, Adam, what I'm seeing in this proposal, all services may be canceled with a 30-day notice. Secretary's partner LLC is an independent contractor and will not participate in the district's retirement or benefit plans. He's proposing a 15 to 20-hour weekly dedicated to the district work, managing district resources, planning board meetings, providing the overall operation of the district. GM on-site 8 to 16 business hours weekly. So that's a little less than Chester's proposal that we saw.
Yeah, a
So
little bit
that's
less.
1 to 2 days a week he'd be in Greenville. Available during all district operating hours to provide direction to staff. Available 24/7, provide emergency direction. Ongoing routine evaluation of finances and operations with regular recommendations made for. Assistance identifying, applying for, and administering various grant programs and other funding opportunities. I think probably, Adam, that when I asked you if you were familiar with grant writing and going after monies, your response was that you're a good hunter, and I really liked that comment.
Oh, good.
He was a good hunter.
You mean fishing game line? Oh, no. Okay.
different kind of hunter.
Assisting the district board with any requested governance training, strategic planning, and or goal setting. Fee would be $6,500 a month, which figures out to about $75 an hour. So.
Yes.
Questions for Adam? Questions?
So would you be running these projects like we're trying to do on our little meetings once a week?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I have a pretty strong background in project management and planning and running capital projects. So absolutely. And I do have some experience working with FEMA via Cal OES, just as you guys are going through right now.
What we wanted to hear.
Just
Exactly what we wanted to hear.
just by chance, have you lack of a better word, hobnobbed with the legislature very much, or are you very good at, or had dealings with the state legislature as far as appropriations, or just curious if you have or not?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
He was asking if you had have ever hobnobbed
Oh, okay.
with the state legislature. And I think where he's going with that is how do you schmooze with politicians to help poor little counties like Plymouth?
Yeah, I definitely have spent a lot of time doing typical things like, the Capitol visit day, different things like that with different organizations to actually go to Sacramento and to visit with legislators. Also, great letter writer, can write letters like it's no one's business. And at the end of the day, I don't mind going and sitting down in their local district office and waiting to chat with them face to face to get our point across and make sure that they understand exactly what the district's needs are.
So how many of these have you done? How many of these general manager jobs have you done around?
So this will actually, Chester is my first in this area. Right now, I have a couple other clients that I'm performing project management for. I have 3 other clients, and then a client that I'm searching for, trying to place a new superintendent with them. That's a school district. This is my first foray into Plumas County. I've been up there a couple times now. It's absolutely beautiful. Enjoyed my drives very much, very similar to how I spent my childhood in the Central Sierras.
Pretty much said. So Adam, what if our workload is more than 2 days a week?
Yeah. So my real intention here is to be flexible, and that's why I gave a little tiny bit of range of hours on the proposal. The intent really is to provide the service that you need, and so if it becomes clear that you need either more or less, that's a conversation that we can easily have to change for the next month moving forward. It really is about meeting both respecting your budget constraints while meeting the needs that you have for administering the district.
Well, thank you. That sounds like we need to talk more about this.
Something that we
Yeah.
could handle.
Okay. Well,
All right.
thank you very much for your time. We'll
Absolutely. Thank you.
discuss it and move forward on it. And thank you very much. I'm glad you got hired by Chester. I know that they have some similar issues, and that's a good thing too. Working with them and
Yeah.
County. So thank you. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Adam.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So, those people that we usually have, we need to do discussion on following up.
Don't we have 2 other letters for Jim?
I'm sorry, say again.
We have
Don't we have some other applicants?
one. As they got contact me, know what it was a resume, and I can talk back to it, but it wasn't.
Susan
I can talk back.
Susan and I looked at that resume.
Yes.
We weren't impressed.
Hmm.
That's just our feeling on it. She had IT background.
Sure. A very nice person, picked out that she was willing to help us, so she threw her hat to ring. So, people, but this is this firm and what he offers and his contract and.
And we met him face to face. We spent over an hour with him
So
and,
we don't just get him, we get the firm too.
yeah.
'Cause he sounds like he's just.
Well,
this is
to
gonna be his
me,
first job.
to me, what I liked about it is that number one, it's a contract. We can get out of it in 30 days. If we
Right,
don't
that's
like
good,
him, if
that's
he's
good.
not giving us a good service, we don't have to worry about that. And
I gotta take this call.
Yeah, go ahead. You're fine. And basically, he's young, he's polite, he conducted himself very well. I don't think he'd unravel. And I think that his personality was calm and confident. That's what I would describe it like. He's a great big guy.
Yeah.
But he just seemed like he was, he's marketing himself really well. With his cards and his resumes and his letters. He does write a good letter.
He knows what he's getting
My
into.
only concern is this is like his first GM position.
Yeah, and what he sold himself as is somebody that can work in government and work with boards. And I think that right now that's a good thing. We were thinking that, we asked him, we said, you got any experience in a water system or a sewer system? He's got experience in a sewer system, but not a water system. He's not an engineer, right? And I don't think he needs to be, Roger. I mean,
I agree with you. I mean, because we have an engineer.
we have an engineer, we have an attorney, we have utility experience on the board. And I think what we need is somebody who can go and find this money and they can work with the government.
Yeah, we need somebody to find us money and deal with people.
That's, I think, our
That's the
biggest
two big-
issue
two
right
biggest things,
now
yeah.
is.
That's what we need
dealing
right
with
now.
FEMA, OES,
Yeah.
and coming back together
Right.
on putting Greenville back together.
Pulling these projects together.
Plus, which he also can help recruit for a permanent GM,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
which is a real
a
plus.
plus.
it's a conduit for staff to relay and for board to relay, and then, pivot person for finding finances and doing grants and
Yeah, somebody could spend full time on this,
Yeah,
for park maybe.
20 hours to me, is that gonna be enough?
Yeah, and.
Once he gets up to speed, gets everything collected up, then maybe 20 hours, but right now, it's more than 20 hours, maybe. Our information we have for him, we can put together.
Well, I think that what we'll be able to do is, at least we know enough about the projects now, that it'd be more of a warm handoff of what we got.
Right.
We got.
But we may still have to take some of these projects.
Which.
We may still have to handle some of these projects.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, your plan of action won't change much. I think you'll still remain constant and steady on your plan of action, but you have that conduit that you feed back to, and then he goes to FEMA, he goes to staff comes to him, FEMA comes to him. He is that connector, that connection piece in between all of you that makes the thing happen. It's not that your plan of action will change, your assignments will really change. You'll still have those duties to do, but that conduit is there to feed information to and from, and to handle direction to staff at the same time.
Well, we need the help, we need the staffing, that's for sure. We need somebody other to take that over.
So are we making a decision tonight, or?
No, you said we had to make a,
You can,
you can?
if you want to.
Actually hire at this time at this meeting.
Yes, we put you down as a discussion action item. So you can definitely take action if you would like to.
30 days, huh? All right. What we got to lose?
We need it out.
We need to help.
That's
Yeah,
what-
yeah.
Yeah.
I make the motion, we hire.
I second that.
That's the first motion I
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah. That's
made.
like.
Call him back, tell him to get.
Call it back.
He's still on the Zoom.
I am here. Yes, thank you, board. I appreciate that.
I didn't kick him out yet.
I appreciate that, board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it, the board meeting. Okay. Last item, adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All in second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
That was good. You know that. We wrote on.